Good evening, everyone, and welcome to day two of World Investor Education Week program. My name is Yukesh, and once again, a very warm welcome. I see a lot of names here which I saw yesterday, and I'm so glad that at least the people who have attended yesterday are back to learn something new. As usual, we'll start with a poll, and we have a lot of stuff today to cover. And definitely, I do not want to bore you. Do not want to bore you more than 1 hour. So I'll try to wrap everything up in an hour, so that your interest also remains alive in this, and you keep coming for the next few days also. Very quick, I'm getting a couple of questions about yesterday's session. Just to tell you before I start, I think I had this problem yesterday. I just don't want to repeat this. If everyone can see my presentation, if everyone can see me, can hear me, just give me a yes or a okay, so I can continue. I can make sure that the network is all right. I have just changed my position. I moved on from my office to my boardroom, and I think this should make a difference. Just if you can hear me properly, if you can watch me, if you can see me, can see my presentation, just give me a yes or okay, so I can proceed from here. Okay, perfect. So I see a lot of people. Great, perfect. Okay, so it's working fine. So today, guys, those who are coming on the second day directly, they did not attend the last session, which I did yesterday. Don't worry about it. Start fresh today, and the video of the event which happened yesterday will be shortly uploaded on YouTube, and will definitely update you about this. In case if you want to have a one-on-one session, just reach to your relationship manager, and if you want to understand what happened on day one, uh, after this week is over, we can definitely sit again. Or before I start my session tomorrow, I can have a one-on-one session with all those people who have missed day one. So just to reiterate, yesterday what we discussed about was the asset classes, basically the financial instruments which are available for investments. Because what happens, very few of us are actually aware about how many kinds of asset classes are available for us to invest. Some people only know about real estate. Some people only know about gold. Some people only know about oil. So yesterday's session was all about understanding that how many kinds of asset classes are available, where we can invest, what instruments we can trade. Also, we talked about commodities. We talked about different kinds of commodities. I'm still getting some queries about yesterday's asset classes. So definitely, we'll just do a very short recap, and then we'll move on to the today's agenda. Those who are getting a lag or a connectivity issue, do not worry about it. If you miss anything, we can always have a one-on-one session. Plus, the copy of this, the video of this webinar will be uploaded on YouTube. So don't worry about it. Wherever you start getting the network, just stick to it, and we'll cover a lot of things. Now, just a quick recap from yesterday. We talked about different asset classes. We talked about commodities which involve energy-based commodities like oil, natural gas, heating oil, gasoline. It includes precious metals like gold, silver, platinum, palladium. It includes base metals like copper. It includes agricultural products like orange juice, coffee, cocoa, rice, wheat. All these instruments are available for you to invest or trade into the financial markets. And this is let alone the commodities section. You move on, you can invest into shares, different kinds of companies, utility sector, consumer staples, the consumer discretionary, all different kinds of companies. You can invest into share baskets, a collective combination of companies which are clubbed together in a basket, and those are theme based. For example, if you want to trade into companies which are into 5G technology, you can buy and sell a 5G basket, which is a combination of all those companies which are into 5G technology. We talked about bonds. We talked about a stock market index, which shows a statistical performance of a bunch of companies. and also is a health indicator of a country's stock market. So this is something which we have discussed yesterday. Now today we are going to discuss something which is a very core of this entire session. And there are a lot of, I see a lot of names coming in, and there are a lot of people who have joined today. So don't worry about it. You have not missed on to anything. Yes, day one was all about information, but day two will be more about the practical working of how to buy and sell, how to manage your risk, how to put a stop loss, how to diversify. So all these things we are going to discuss today. Before we start, as a ritual, let's have a poll. And I would like to I would love if everybody could participate in this. I can see a lot of people still joining in, a lot of new names as well. So let's go ahead with this. I hope everybody can see the question right now. What is the percentage of retail investors who lose money in trading? This is a very important question to ask, uh, something people talk about very little, and the options are really interesting. I have also put, if you feel that everybody loses money, please go ahead and select. It's very important. Go ahead, guys. I see a lot of people, the people who are joining now. Very welcome to everyone. So the question is, what is the percentage of retail investors who lose money in trading? The first option, 10 to 30%, 30 to 60%, 60 to 80%, 80 to 95%, or everybody loses money. Okay. Okay, perfect, perfect. I'm getting a lot of polls, still not stopping. That's very interesting. So I have seen every time I ask a question, majority of people would be very close to the right answer. So the obvious options always get highlighted, very closer percentages. Very good. Please go ahead. I see a lot more people joining in. We'll keep doing these polls over a period of this session just to keep you awake as well, because I'm sure you are at home and uh, juggling around and multitasking a lot of things. So your interest should be here. Okay, last 5 seconds. Anybody who has to vote can vote now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to end this poll and you can see the results yourself. Very interesting results. Okay, and I end the poll now. So 20% of the people say everybody loses money. However, 10% say 30 to 60%, 40% people think 60 to 80% people lose money. And 30% it say that 80 to 95%. Okay, for those who think everybody loses money, uh, not really that everybody loses money, but you are very close to the correct answer, which is 80 to 95%. Now, before half of this crowd leaves, seeing after the statistics, just try to understand that why 80 to 95% of the retail clients would end up losing money in trading in derivatives or investment in derivatives. Yesterday, I discussed about the risk. Yesterday, we discussed about what happens in case if you think about taking a loan. We looked at the investment pyramid and we saw that the very tip of the pyramid is where the speculation and the trading and options, everything comes in the tip of the pyramid, which is the top. And it's a high risk and high reward. So high risk stands for the fact that speculation and trading in markets can be very risky because it moves to everything which happens around the world. If Trump gets tested positive for coronavirus, that pulled stock markets down. And before that, everything was going fine. The stock markets were going up. The moment this news came out that he was tested positive, stock markets came down. Again, when the news came that he was feeling better, he put his video online and where he said that I'm feeling better now, stock markets went up. Earning season comes in. If the earnings are expected to be good, stocks go up. If the earnings are expected to be bad, stocks come down. Similarly, whether it is currencies or whether it is commodities, it will move to everything what happens in the market. On the top of it, how these platforms actually operate when you're trading online or when you're investing online, you go through a procedure or you trade through a procedure which is called margin trading. Now, this is one of the significant reason why there are a lot of clients who end up losing money. There are a lot of prospects who, a lot of people, or a lot of investors who end up losing money in the market. And that is because of margin trading and leverage. This is not something which cannot be put in check. Obviously, every risk comes with a risk management tool. And today's session is all about understanding how to trade in the markets, what kind of risk management tools you should use. And tomorrow we'll cover the impact of the news and events which affect the markets. So first, if some, I'm sure the people who have attended my session yesterday would have called their relationship managers and asked for a demo account because I requested you yesterday for just one small assignment. What was it? Anybody remembers, can please put it on the chat. Chat is open, by the way, for anyone who has joined new today. Chat is working. If you have any questions, anything, please write over chat and I will be able to watch it live and probably answer your question as well. What was the small assignment I gave you yesterday? You take a demo account from your relationship manager and do what? What were you supposed to create? Anyone who remembers it? I see a lot of familiar names. Okay. Okay. Okay, I got one answer. Okay, I'm getting one more. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. So some of you remember, and I think some of you would have done this also, creating the watch list. Now, I will do this session exactly the way I did yesterday. I'll keep switching from my presentation to the live platform. Today, markets are already live, so you can even see the prices moving. So very quickly, I'm going to show you what we did yesterday, and we'll discuss about the margin trading. So before we go to the platform, what margin trading exactly is. Now, this is the very base, and please hear this properly. Note it down on a notebook if you have, get a piece of paper and note this down. This is how you actually start your trade. This is the mechanism, whether you are using this platform or if you're using any other CFDs platform, this is exactly how the transactions will be carried out in whichever platform you're using. My company, any other company around the world. Margin trading is the mechanism which is used to execute trades. What does margin trading mean? So margin trading, what you see on my slide, it's a method of trading assets using funds provided by a third party. When compared to a regular trading account, margin accounts allow traders to access greater sums of capital. Basically, in layman language, margin trading means that if you have to take a trade, let's say if you want to take $100,000 worth trade, you do not necessarily have to put $100,000 to purchase it. If you want to buy shares of Facebook worth $100,000, you necessarily not need to have $100,000 in your trading account, which means, as you can see in this particular picture, you can block a small percentage of the total value. So that if the total value is $100,000, you can put $10,000 as a margin and still have Facebook shares worth $100,000. How is this possible? This is possible by way of leverage. Now, if you see, there's a small triangle I've put on this slide, leverage. So leverage and margin trading basically helps you understand that how this works. And every platform will have a different leverage or a different percentage of leverage. But let me give you a very easy example, and let me take you through the platform itself directly, where I could show you how the live trade is executed. Now I am here on the live trading platform. Let's do first things first. We'll create a watch list, because when I create the watch list, I would know that what kind of instruments we have to trade today. So we will be knowing that these are the most tradable instruments. Now, starting from here, how do I create a watch list? I click here, go on create new watch list. Now I edit my name of the watch list, Investor Education Week, day 2. Press enter. Now the watch list is prepared. So what a watch list actually means? Watch list means it's a kind of favorite list. Every time when you log out, you don't want to go to search and search your instrument from the product library, or you don't have to every time go to the search option to take a trade. You can create a watch list. There's an add product right here. Click on add product, and now you can just go for it. So anything you want to. We'll switch commodities first. So in commodities, gold, one of the heavily traded. Crude oil, one of the most heavily traded instruments. Silver, one of the most heavily traded. Then among agriculture commodities, we have wheat, we have corn. There are a lot of strategies prepared around corn, and these are agro-based commodities, and a lot of people they trade and they invest into agricultural commodities as well. Yesterday I shared a small fact with you that during the most of the recessionary periods we have seen, a lot of agricultural commodities have outperformed so many asset classes, right? So agriculture is also something which you can always use. This is commodities which I'm adding, followed by index. So yesterday I told you about stock market index, US 30. Very quickly on the chat option, when I say US 30, what does the number 30 indicate? Please, anybody who was here yesterday or anybody who's new but is aware about this concept, when I say US 30, what does the number 30 indicates? While I add more instruments, German 30. These are the most heavily tradable indices. SPX 500, which is a US index. So guys, what does S&P 500? So what does this 500 as a number indicates? Or what does this number 30 indicates? Okay, I got one answer. Got another answer. Okay, good. Most of you remember this. So the index, because it's a stock market index, it gives the number indicates how many number of companies this particular index has. So if I say US 30, there are 30 companies which are under this index. If you see S&P 500, there are 500 companies which are under this index. These are the number of companies which are being tracked. Also, to add on one of the most important indices these days, NASDAQ. NASDAQ is a very tech-heavy index. So stocks like Facebook, Amazon, Twitter, Tesla, Netflix, Alphabet, these kind of stocks are in NASDAQ. And you can see today that, tell me, looking at the watch list, how much is NASDAQ in percentage terms up today? So look at US 30 and look at NASDAQ. Tell me how much NASDAQ has gone up today by looking at the watch list. It's very easy, guys. Let's make it more interactive. You will get into this habit of seeing these numbers. So let's start today itself. How much do you think US NASDAQ has gone up today, percentage terms? Since yesterday's closing till now, What is the percentage increase in NASDAQ? It's answers right there, guys. If you can see my screen, if you can see the platform, if you can see your own platform as well, and if you're adding right now the products with me. Okay, I got one answer. Very good. Okay. Okay. Absolutely. Very good. So it has gone up by 2.4%. I'm getting one question about what does December 2020 mean. So it's a future contract. Just to give you a very quick snapshot of how a future contract would work, it will come with an expiry date. So if you see crude oil December 2020, that means if you buy crude oil, uh, it will have an expiry date, and by that time if you don't close the trade, then your trade will automatically be closed. The profit or loss will automatically be booked. You cannot hold it for a very long period of time. You can only hold it till the expiry. Somebody said 1.5%. It's not 1.5%. It is Nasdaq, which is up by 2.4%. It's a big bounce today, and you will see all other stocks which are in Nasdaq also. So let me add the stocks, a couple of stocks which are in Nasdaq, be it Amazon. Then you can look at Tesla, look at Netflix. As you can see, these stocks, Amazon is up by 4.7%, Tesla is up by 1.7%, Netflix is up by 0.8%. So all these things, it is contributing to Nasdaq going higher because most of the tech stocks are up, right? So this is among equities. You can also add stocks like Microsoft, 2% up. You can add stocks like Apple, 4.6%. Also, let's see some other sectors as well apart from the tech. Energy sector, Exxon is down, oil companies down by 0.4%. Let's see some financial sector, JP Morgan, or let's say Citigroup is up by 1.5%. Some consumer staples like Coca-Cola. Everybody drinks Coke. 1.1% up, right? So I have commodities, I have index, I have some stocks. I will also add heavily traded currency as euro dollar and dollar and Japanese yen. And okay, so let's keep these products open. Now, guys, why watchlist? What was my reason to provide you this assignment to create a watchlist, so that even when you're not trading, every time you log into your platform, you can just easily check how many instruments you want to see, and what is, so first column of watchlist shows you the lowest of the day. So if you can pick any instrument, let's take Nasdaq today. Okay, so if you see Nasdaq, here it is. Today's low is 11,699. Highest is 12,029. So that's right there, a bounce of easily around 300 points. If you see last, it closed yesterday at 11,738. So it is definitely up by around $287. If you had bought one unit, you would be making $287 on the higher side. Similarly, if you see the stock which is down, ExxonMobil, it closed at 34.72. Right now it is running around 34.56, so it is down by 0.5%. Had you bought ExxonMobil, you'll be down by 0.4%. So this is what you can see, that what is the lowest of the day, what is the highest of the day, at what price it opened last night, at what price it closed, and since yesterday till now, how much percentage it has gone up, and then what is the current price, all in one column, right? So this is something which you can add. Somebody suggested for Carnival, so I'll also add a Carnival stock. So Carnival Corp is this. Carnival Corp is a cruise liner, but Carnival shares it into apparel. So I'll add Carnival. I think if Carnival has been suggested. Okay. Somebody asked me what is considered a big bounce in terms of percentage. So very good question. If you see an index, just like NASDAQ, 2% is a good bounce on its average decent amount of bounce, after which you can expect that there might be some profit booking, which means if Nasdaq goes up by 2.4% or 2.5%, it's a very good bounce for the day, right? On an average, these indices will give you a 0.5, 0.7% up and downside, or 1% up and downside in case of index. When you talk about gold, similar. So gold, let's understand all these products which I have lined up in the watch list. Gold every day on an average will move around $15 to $20 expected. It was not always like this, but one thing which has definitely increased from 2012 to 2020 is the volatility, the fluctuation at which the prices go up and down. So gold moves around easily $18 to $20. Oil would easily move around $1.5 to $2. Similarly, if you see Nasdaq, $200, $250 movement, very common. If you see a US 30, also US 30 can also move easily around $200 to $300. So even if you trade into one unit of all these instruments, you can see this much amount of volatility. Now your watch list is ready. And once you have created your watch list, now today's your assignment. If you want, you can take a picture of this, that these are the products which you have to add in your watch list for those people who have come today. Take demo accounts from relationship managers later on and add to the watch list. Now, and keep looking at these prices, how it moves. Next thing, now you trade using margins. So I'm going to take a very live example of how the trading will be done. So let's take one stock. Let's take Apple. And many of you would already know this, but since I'm here online, so let me even inform you about this. Tomorrow, there will be a major Apple event where they will announce the upcoming of the new iPhones. So they are coming up with new iPhones. One Apple event has already passed. They come up with a new iPad, and possibility the new iPhones will be with 5G technology. So there could be a good amount of bounce because 4G technology is becoming obsolete, and Apple customer is mostly loyal to an Apple product. So there is a lot of iPhone sales expected over a due course of time. So do look at the Apple event tomorrow. And by the time when you're looking at the event, do look at the Apple stock also, that how it moves while the event is going on. This will give you a very good idea of the impact of news, events, and fundamentals on a company. Now, if I have to buy Apple stock, what I do first and foremost, I have created a watch list. I can click on any of the flickering prices here. So let's say if I click on a buy price of Apple here, the order ticket opens. Or there is a better way to find it. If I've searched, right, Apple, a chart of Apple opens where also there is a buying and selling price. And if I click on it, again, order ticket opens. So it's up to you. What is your convenient way? You can add everything in your watch list and then use your watch list to take a trade, or you can just search. So I click on the buying or the selling price here, and the order ticket opens. Now, this is the passage through which you execute the trade. What I'm going to do right now, tell me what is on your chats, guys. What if I want to buy one share of Apple? How much money I will have to pay from my $100,000? As you can see on the top right corner, account value says $100,000. So it's a dummy account. I have put $100,000 in this. If I have to buy one share of Apple, how much money I have to pay to buy one share of Apple? Please write it over your chat, whatever number you see, whatever number you think is right. Go ahead, guys. Keep writing. Keep writing. It's good. If I want to buy one share of Apple, how much money I have to pay? Okay. Answer number one. Perfect. 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 Okay, great. Great. So everybody's on board right now. If I have to buy one share of Apple, I will have to pay $122.7, and keeps changing in the live market right now. The price which you're looking is live, so it will keep changing. So if I have to buy one share of Apple, I have to pay $122. If I have to, so how can I also confirm this? You see units here. This is number of units, which means number of shares. If I write one share and I press enter, it shows me the price right here, $122.85. Simply, if I write 10 shares, 10 multiplied by the price If I want to buy 10 shares, I will have to pay $1,228. If I have to buy 100 shares of Apple, I have to pay $12,000. If I have to pay 1,000 shares of Apple, if I have to buy 1,000 shares of Apple, I have to pay $122,000. But I need to buy shares how much? How much money I have in my account? I just said it right now. How much money I have in my account? See my account value and tell me how much money do I have in my account? Somebody is asking about stop losses and take profit. We'll definitely come to stop losses after the margin trading. So just be on the call. Tell me, guys, how much money I have in my account? $100,000. Great. So if I have $100,000 in my account and I want to buy shares, so technically, if I have $100,000, that's all I can buy, right? So how do I know how much shares I can buy with 100,000? All I have to do is put into amount column $100,000 and I can buy 813. Somebody guessed it completely right on the chat that I would be able to buy 813 shares, which will be equal to $100,000. Now here's the thing. Normally, if you have to buy something, you would pay $100,000. If you want to buy something worth 100,000, you will pay $100,000 and get the total number of shares. Now, during margin trading, if you can see in the order ticket, there is something called estimated margin at the bottom. Just before the place by market order option, there's a small option which says the small number which says estimated margin 4999.79, which is $5,000. What does it mean? So in margin trade, I'm going to the product overview right now to show you how this works. Now there's a margin rate which says right here on the first that till you buy 72,800 shares, margin rate will be 5%. You are buying how many shares? You are buying 800 shares, which is equal to 100,000. So how margin trading will work over here? If you want to buy $100,000 worth of shares, which is equal to 800 shares, all you have to do is block 5% of the total value from your $100,000. Once again, you have $100,000 in your trading account. You want to buy shares of Apple worth $100,000, but you do not have to give entire 100,000 of your account. Using margin, which is in percentage terms, and it is decided by the broker that how much margin will be blocked for this trade, you can actually take $100,000 worth Apple shares. So that means in the order ticket which you see now, very carefully look at the account value on the top right corner, my right at here. On the top right corner, you see account value 100,000, and next to it you can see total margin and available balance. Now this means just look at that window. What happens when I take this trade? I'm going to click buy, and it's going to be real time. So I click here buy. It's a 2-click process. I click once again. What I did, I bought Apple shares, 812 shares, buying price at 123.13. Now, if you can see what has happened, from my account value of $100,000, $5,000, which is 5% of 100,000, $5,000 has been held as a token money, as a margin money, and rest $95,000 is kept as an available balance, which means I am buying shares worth $100,000. I am blocking only 5,000 from my total 100K, but I still have $100,000 worth Apple shares. So this is as simple as you are not paying complete 100,000. You are just paying 5% of the total value from your wallet, and you can still have shares worth $100,000. You are left with 95 in your trading account. This is why this is called available balance. This is your cash, available cash. Any loss which is happening will be taken from your available cash. Any profit which happens will be added. So right now you are in $16, $24 profit. So your account value is showing you a real-time profit right here, right? How do I know I'm in profit or loss? So somebody asked me, is this the leverage of 20 times? So that's right. You are blocking 5% of the total trade. So 20 times more you are taking the leverage. Where we have to mention, somebody asked me where we have to mention about 5%. So you can see here in the product overview, This is Apple right here. So if you select on this menu, you select product overview. So you can see here, it says margin rate 5% up to 72,000 shares. So you don't have to mention 5% right there. You just have to put your number of shares and the total amount, and the trade by default will be taken with 5% margin blocked, right? This is what margin trading is about. Now, many of you will ask, what is the benefit? So the benefit is that you're not blocking your entire money. You have $100,000 in your trading account. If Apple goes down by 50%, your loss is 50,000, and you have 100,000 in your account, so you lose 50,000, right? On the other side, let's say if you want to take, now technically right now you're in $64 profit. First of all, where do I see this trade? This is your products library, right? So library, we cannot see the trade, we can just see products. Search option is for just searching everything. We cannot see what trades we have taken. Watch list is all about creating a watch list. It doesn't show where the trades are. What do we see? We go to account. So this option, which you see it here, this is called account option, and this is called positions. When you click on positions is where you will see the trades which you have taken and what is the profit and loss over here. So you have bought Apple. Any trade taken live in the market is called position. Always remember this. You will be using this terminology again. Now, when you are buying Apple shares, number of shares 800, total amount $100,000. This is your buying price 123.13. You blocked 5%, 5% of 100,000. So the amount 5,000 here. Your total profit in green right now $48, because your selling price is up by almost 6 or 4 cents. So you see that with 800 shares, if you go up, let's say by 5 cents, you are making around $40. So this is 800 multiplied by 0.05, and that's your profit. And it's moving up and down, and your account value is moving with it. You can book this profit anytime you want, and you can, if you want, you can keep a stop loss and take profit. Now I'll tell you also about stop loss and take profit as a risk management tool. But before that, so right now, guys, the trades which I have taken have a bare minimum risk. That means if Apple goes to zero, your 100,000 becomes zero, right? Now, what happens in the case of leverage? When I asked you the question that what happens to the retail clients, somebody's asking me, can I close the trade from the keyboard? Of course you can. You just have to go to this small red cross right here and click here and write close trade and see what happens to your margin. When you close this trade, you sold Apple shares, your margin comes back $5,000 in your available balance plus the profit 227 added in your account, right? Those people who are asking that can we withdraw this profit, in your demo account you cannot. In your demo account you cannot without using the mouse. There is no shortcut to closing the trade, but if you use taps you can, but I think it will be highly dangerous because you might end up using a different option. There is a trade room app for the phones, so you can use the phones and do this, right? Now coming back to the next part, which is the risky part. You understood one thing that, and again guys, I do not expect everyone to understand at a similar pace. You might be having some questions about leverage and margin, and I'm available for one-on-one sessions. Right now, just try to understand this concept. Now, one more thing. Last time I bought shares worth $100,000 because I just had $100,000 in my account. This time, let's say I want to buy Microsoft shares. Okay, one share is equal to $220. I can see the price. Let's say I want to buy $1 million worth Microsoft shares. Tell me on chat, I have $100,000 in my account. Can I buy shares worth $1 million? What does the basic understanding of this say? I just have $100,000 in my trading account. Can I buy Microsoft shares worth 1 million? Go ahead, guys, on the chat. Tell me, can I buy $1 million worth shares of Microsoft in an account where I have just $100,000? Sorry. Yes. Okay. Okay. Definitely somebody's saying yes, but risky. Absolutely risky. And I'm going to show you why it is risky. Risk. So with higher leverage comes more and more risk. Okay, great. So I'm sure most of you can understand now. Everybody's saying yes, you can. Why we can? Because we don't have to block a complete total value. I do not need to have $1 million to buy shares worth $1 million, right? Perfect. So now what I'm going to do, how much margin is needed? $50,000 margin is needed, which is 5% of the total value. I have $100,000. I can give 50,000 easily from here. And how many shares is going to be? 4,500. So when I click on buy, here it is. I just bought 4,500. Where do I go to see it? Account, position. How I can see this now? I have 4,500 shares of Microsoft worth $1 million. You can see your amount. From your account value, 50,000 now is taken as a margin, blocked as a margin. You're remaining with $50,000. Your profit and loss will be taken from this 50,000 initially. And now you can see the margin which is blocked, 50,000. Now your loss is 270, 300, right? $270, $300, and you have 4,500. This is where I have taken a leverage, and this is where I have taken a higher leverage. I am trading into account of $100,000 and I am taking $1 million worth position. Now, tell me one thing. You have 4,500 shares. Okay, you have 4,500 shares. If Microsoft, and I am going to, yeah, perfect. You have, okay, somebody's telling me to take a demo account of $5,000 and be realistic. So guys, see, $100,000, I have taken $1 million trade in 100,000, which is 10 times leverage. I could show you the same thing in $10,000 and can tell you also how easily can account get wiped out. But for a common consensus, let's take a 100,000 account. We will one-on-one meet and we can take whatever money you are comfortable with and take a total trade with it, because we have to take a lot of trades in here. Now, if Microsoft, and tell me the answer to this question, I have 4,500 shares which I have purchased at 220. If Microsoft goes down to 210, what is my total loss? So 4,500 shares I have of Microsoft, which I have bought at 220. If it goes down to 210, how much is my loss? Go on, guys, looking at the chat option. 4,500 shares, I bought at 220. If it goes down to 210, what is my total loss on Microsoft? Do the math. Okay. So 4,500 shares, if it comes down by 10, yes. So somebody did exact calculation, 45,500, 48,000 into 10 of total share. Somebody said 9,000. Sir, 9,000 is not the right answer. If you see a calculation, 4,500 down by 10, multiply by 10. So your total loss is $45,000, right? Precise number, 47,650. Very good. Everybody's on board, I think, with this. Your math should be really quick, guys, because when you're doing profit and loss, you should understand I have number of shares, 4,500. If it goes down by $10, I lose this much, right? Now, $45,000 is 45% of the total 100,000, right? $10 movement, $10 movement in Microsoft, which means just 5% decline, because Microsoft is $220, 10% is $20 movement, 5% will be $10 movement. So market comes down. If Microsoft comes down by 5%, how much equity you lose? 50%. Why? Because you are 10 times leveraged. In a $100,000 account, you have taken trade worth how much? $1 million, right? So whatever is your total loss, it gets magnified by how much? 10 times. So that's why, and if it goes on the higher side, if it goes up by 5%, you make that much return. So high risk, high reward if you take high leverage. Now, please understand this thing. Many of you Good. Now, again, I'm going to do one more thing, and please do not try this at home. This is an act done by professionals in demo accounts. I'm going to give you a disclaimer right away. Do not do this in your live accounts. I'm just showing you the extent of this. I'm just going to end up buying $1 million shares again. Now it needed $49,000. I have 48,000. So if I try to execute the trade, it will be rejected, right? Because I don't have enough money. But if I buy, say, something around $950,000 worth, it needs $47,000. I click buy. Now, if you can see, I have used my entire equity and I have blocked it as a margin, right? Because I have taken worth $2 million. $2 million, 5% margin, 100,000. It's been taken, right? I'm just left with $900. How many shares I have right now? 8,000. Please, I'm again telling you, warning you, this is a demo account. Please do not, this is a very aggressive trade, so do not take this in your live accounts. This is just for the illustration purpose to show you that how much you can lose and how quickly you can lose. So what you see right now here, 8,800 shares, which is worth $2 million almost. Your entire equity has been blocked as a margin. And now you can see a loss of 3,500. Your account value is flickering. This is an aggressive trade. If market goes up, you might see a lot of profit, but then it will come up with a very high risk, right? Now, just imagine if you have $2 million worth of transactions, right? If you're taking a $2 million worth of trade, what happens when Microsoft goes down? You have 8,000 shares. If stock goes down by $10, now I just need one answer from the person who answered this wrong. Sir, your chance now. If you have 8,000 shares and if price goes down by $10, how much money you lose? 8,000 shares, and if stock goes down by $10, then how much money do you lose? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna get the answer right away. So if 8,000 shares you have, and if price goes down by $10, you're going to lose. Perfect. Good. Great answer. $80,000, right? If it goes down by $10, you're going to lose 80,000. Now, $80,000 you're losing. You had 100,000. So stock goes down by $10, you lose 80. What happens when stock goes down by $20? How much money you lose? You lose $160,000. That's correct. But you invested just 100. Now you end up losing 60 more, which you never invested at the first place, right? This is the risk which comes with leverage. That's why every broker writes that you can lose more than your initial deposit, because higher the leverage you take, more aggressive you become, and more the chances of losing your equity becomes higher and higher, right? Just $10 and you can lose your entire money. Okay. Somebody's asking about the charges. Yes, there will be charges every time you buy and sell, and we can always discuss about the charges later on. Let's stick to this point now. One thing which you need to understand, guys, every broker comes with a point of liquidation. This entire process of margin trading is really important for you to understand that what happens when you take a higher trade. If right now, as you can see, your account value is 94,000, your margin blocked is 97, you're losing 5,000. So definitely the available balance which you see is negative. It is taken from your margin. Guys, if you have taken a trade worth $2 million, and the moment your account value goes down and down and further, to prevent you from losing more than your deposit, the brokers have put a liquidation point which gets triggered at 50% of your total margin. So if your margin is $97,000, there is a small option here, information. Click on this and it shows you a standard closeout level, which means when your account value reaches to 50% of your total margin, all your trades are automatically closed. You have lost around $52,000 and you are left with 48,000 in your account. So in a $2 million position, In a $2 million position, there are some network issues. I'll just repeat this again. In a $2 million positions, if your account value reaches to 50% of the position, 50% of the total margin, your trade gets closed. So this is to prevent you from losing more than what you have deposited, right? So to sum up, this is how margin trading happens. Whatever you need to buy, you have to block a percentage of the total value from your trading amount, right? Now, very quickly, I'm going to book the loss over here, which is $5,000. So I'm just going to repeat once again, guys. I think there was some network issue. If there is, so if you have taken a trade, any trade if you have taken, okay, and if the account value drops to the 50% of the total margin, so if your margin is 97,000, if your account value reaches $48,000, your trade will be closed completely. Your $2 million position will be closed. You have lost $52,000 in this entire transaction, and you are left with $48,000. Now, somebody is asking, can we close one position at this point? Yes. So what happens if I close one position here? Let's say 4,500 here, where I'm losing $3,800. The margin from this trade will get free. Just look here. I'm closing this, booking my loss. Now see, $47,000, $49,000 got free, and now my available is again here. But my loss got booked. And if I close everything, again, my entire loss will be booked and margin will come back to my account. Now, one thing everybody has been talking about, so this is the risk. Now, first thing when I started thing, I told you that first, before we move on to the risk management, we have to understand what the risk is. So this is the risk, because there are two kind of people right now in this session. One who heard me and saw me taking a $2 million position and coming almost at the verge of losing everything I have. And then there is a second kind of person. Second kind of person is thinking, I can take a trade worth $2 million, but my losses are pretty much restricted to my deposit because the account liquidation happens at the 50% of the total margin, which means all I have to risk is from 100,000, all I have to risk is $48,000 or $52,000, and I can take a trade worth 2 million. If this works out for me, then I'm going to make more money. This kind of mentality is what leads to that 80 to 90% of people losing money in day trades. This is the reason that why. So not doing proper risk management, being overconfident, doing revenge trades, not keeping a loss threshold, taking over leverage, high leverage in an account is what leads to losses in this market. Market risk always prevails. Guys, always remember this. The market risk is always going to be there. It will never go. Anything you do, even if you buy Apple, Facebook, no matter how great the company is, you will always be exposed, vulnerable to the market risk. But then how do you manage your risk? Now coming back to the point, how do you manage your risk? Now let's say I've taken a trade of Microsoft 4,300, I'm losing 1,400. Now there is the first thing which you can use to put is stop loss. Okay, stop loss is something which is the first risk management tool. Everybody should exercise it who is doing day trades. How do you put a stop loss? There's a small pen over here. Click on modify here. It will show you at what price you have bought the stocks, $220. What is your loss right now? 1,200. So you click this one option which is called stop loss. Now you can either put a price that if price I have bought at 220, if the price comes to 218, enter, my loss will be $10,240. But whether you are sleeping or if you're not watching the market or if you're out for your job or if you're busy in something else, the moment price hits 218, your trade will be closed. If you don't want to put a price and just judge by the amount, let's say if I lose $5,000, my trade should get closed. So you write 5,000, automatically the price will be calculated. So right now I'm writing $5,000. The price is 219.21. Right now the selling price is 220.06. So let me put a stop loss. Now I have put a stop loss. Now I can easily talk to you, do my thing, right? Somebody's saying that not putting a stop loss can lead to heavy losses. Absolutely, it can lead to heavy losses. If you're not putting a stop loss, then you have taken a higher risk than the market risk, because keeping a stop loss protects you from taking. So what happens when you don't put a stop loss? Market comes down. Now you're seeing a bigger loss than before. What do? You don't book the loss there. We all are human beings. Human tendency says, let's not book the loss. Let's buy more. If I buy more, it's going to average the price what I purchased first. And from here, when market goes up, I will make money. But it doesn't happen. Market goes down further. You buy more. It goes down further. You buy more. Now, at this point of time, you have reached to a level where you have bought so much that your loss is so much that now you just give up. You say, now what's the point of booking the loss? So this is a very wrong strategy. Okay. Somebody is asking, is it possible if people are always bidding less wantedly, my stop loss will get executed? See, demand and supply is one big factor in prices moving up and down. But on a derivatives platform, the one which you are seeing right now, if the price comes to that point of stop loss, it will get executed. What you are talking about, if the people are always bidding less, if it affects the price, then, and if your price reaches down, it hits your stop loss. But if it doesn't reaches to that point, so reaching to a point of stop loss can be due to any reason, right? Somebody is asking me advice how to accept losses. Sir, we need to have a long conversation about this. This goes all the way to behavioral finance. So for now, please understand this, that you have put a stop loss, and stop loss is a threshold. Even if you now are not here, you're doing something else, if price reaches to a certain point, your stop loss will be executed. That's number one strategy to protect your portfolio, to manage your risk, right? We can always discuss further about how much percentage at stop and loss you can keep it. So when we'll discuss about technicals, I'll show you that how much percentage and risk and reward you can keep. On the day of live trading on Thursday, I'll show you how you can keep a risk and reward properly. For now, just understand how to put a stop loss, right? That's one. Now, second thing, what you do is diversification. And before I tell you about diversification, let me explain you one more thing, and one more important idea, which is called short selling. And please, everyone, listen very carefully how short selling works, because this short selling is what will lead to the next two risk management strategies I'm going to tell you very quickly. Short selling. So right now, if let me show you here on the chart. This is your chart. Let's say, look at this Microsoft chart. It's been going higher and higher and higher, right? However, I can see one specific pattern. If I see somewhere around this level, a couple of times, you see this white line 230, a couple of times it has come to this level and it has gone down. You see different bars over there. So this, every bar stands for one day. So if 3 to 4 to 5 times it has come to 230 and it has come down, right? Which means at some point of time, there is a way that you can take advantage from the falling prices. Sometimes the prices, they come down and you're not supposed to buy that time. What do? You do short selling. Now, how short selling works, let me quickly take you through the presentation over here. So we're talking about margin trading. We successfully covered margin trading. Now, next comes short selling. How does short selling work? While I explain you the short selling, you look at this chart, and also let me show you live how short selling works. I have a bottle of sanitizer over here, something which is digital right now. Imagine pandemic is getting over. This sanitizer costed $10 right now. For example, imagine pandemic is about to get over. So the prices of the sanitizers, let's say, is expected to fall down. Now I want to take advantage of this. So what do? I don't have a sanitizer, but I know that the prices of the sanitizers are going to fall. Now, what I will do, I will borrow sanitizer. Let's say one of you over here have a bottle of sanitizer, which costs $10. Now, if I borrow one bottle of sanitizer from you, and since I am doing these sessions for you, you have become my friend. So now you are okay to lend me things. We have reached to that comfort zone. So I borrow this bottle of sanitizer from you. You do not charge me anything. You say, okay, you take it, give me back whenever you want to. I borrow this from you. I know the market price of this is $10. So when I borrow this, I sell it in the market and I get $10. Everybody with me so far? I borrowed. Now look at this chart also. I am borrowing where the short seller as a client is borrowing Microsoft shares. I am borrowing the bottle of sanitizer from you, which is costing $10. I then select I then sell the bottle of sanitizer in the market and I get $10 in my pocket. Now, this $10, I have kept it with me. I have it with me. I'm keeping it. But the transaction is not complete. Transaction involves me giving you back the bottle of sanitizer because I borrowed it from you and you have not charged me for this. So I borrowed the bottle from you. I sold it in the market. I got $10. But then I waited 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. Pandemic got over. The price of sanitizers came down to $5. Now what I do, I take the $10 which I got, go back to the market, buy the bottle of sanitizer again. From my $10, I give $5. I keep $5 with me because that's my profit. I have sold at a higher price. I bought it back at a cheaper price. I give you back this bottle. You are happy because you got your bottle back. I am happy because when I sold, I got $10 and I bought it back for 5. So I kept $5 with me. That means when price came down, you managed to get a profit. Look at this example now. How short selling work is that you borrow the product which you are expecting the prices to come down. So let's say you are expecting Microsoft shares to come down. Okay, the price of Microsoft shares to come down for some reason. What do? You borrow 10 shares of Microsoft, let's say, from your broker. Okay, and right now the market Microsoft price was, let's say, $300. When you borrow it from the broker and then you sell it in the market. So if you see the first point over here, the broker, you borrow it from the broker, 10 shares of Microsoft, he gives to you. Then you sell it in the market, you receive $300 per share, right? When you receive $300 per share, you keep that money with you. And then you wait till the price of Microsoft goes down to 200. And now if you see the step 4, when it goes down to 200, you go back to the market and the 300 which you received, you pay 200 and buy it back and give back to the broker the shares which you borrowed from him. But in this transaction, you made how much profit? Tell me, in this transaction, how much profit did you make? On the chat, very quickly. How much profit you made on this transaction? You short sell it for $300. You bought it back for 200. So how much is the transaction? How much is the profit you made on this particular transaction? On the chat, guys, come on. Okay, great. Okay, perfect. $100, right? So I hope everybody understands short selling, guys. Let me quickly take you through the platform. How do you do this in live platform? Just like this. So right now, as you can see, your buying position is making a $900 profit. But let's take, okay, I'm going to take McDonald's. Let's say I'm expecting McDonald's prices to come down. Okay, for some reason, could be anything, could be bad earnings, could be any event occurrence. What I need to do is I just have to select sell. So if you remember, when you select buy, it becomes blue, but when you select short sell, it becomes all orange. That means you're short selling. Now, what I'm going to do, when I write 100 shares, I am borrowing 100 shares from the broker. Okay, how can I sell something which I don't have it? I am borrowing it from the broker. How did I sell the bottle of sanitizer? I borrowed it from you, right? So when I borrow this 100 shares from my broker, 100 shares margin, similar 5%, exactly how it's done. I placed this order, I sold it. I sold 100 shares of McDonald's at 225. Now, if I go to my positions, I will see 100 shares McDonald's sell. Now, if my buy price goes below the price at which I have sold, is where I will make profit. Short selling, somebody is asking, short selling is just for the day. It's not for the day. In Indian markets, you can only keep it for the day. But over here, you can keep it as long as you have the money in your account and you can hold on to it. So it's not necessary that you have to close by the end of the day. But please understand this. Short selling also needs a certain amount of risk management. Because imagine if you short sell Amazon shares. Imagine when Amazon was a $400 per share company, everybody thought, this company just delivers books and delivers stuff. What this company is going to do? During that time, if somebody short sell Amazon at $400, Amazon is right now how much? 3,500. So when you have short sell something, you're expecting prices to go down to book the profit. But if it goes up, then you're in a loss. So from 400 to 3,500, how much loss you face? This much almost, and it keeps increasing. Because tell me one thing, when you buy something, if I buy this bottle of water, I know the maximum loss I can face this if the value of the price of this bottle goes to zero, then I lose everything. But if I short sell this bottle of water, which means I short sell it at $5, tomorrow if there's a scarcity of water price can go from 5 to 500. I'm still losing, right? So short selling any instrument, whether it is gold, oil, currencies, anything, when you're short selling, you have to always make sure that you put a stop loss as well. Because, and guys, when pandemic happened, all the stocks came down. So you could short sell during that time. Let me show you a couple of charts. What happened to indices, major indices? Look at your watch list here. If somebody can see, say US 30, for example. Okay. Now, can somebody tell me, I'm just increasing the size of the text. Okay. Tell me, where did the pandemic hit in this chart? Tell me, where did the pandemic hit in this chart? You can see this chart. This is the US stock market index. Is it clear where the pandemic came? And then after the pandemic, how markets have recovered? You see this big fall in the month of March. Somebody's asking, can we trade in UK and other markets with a USD account? You can, definitely, but there will always be exchange risk. But then there are a lot of people who are trading into UK stocks. So you can. Exactly. End of Feb, March is where this big fall came from $28,000 to 20,000 and then bounced back to 28,000. So for those people who thought, oh, pandemic's there, markets are already down, it will crash further, why should I invest? See from March till October how markets have come back to their pre-high levels, right? Stocks have recovered to a certain amount of time. So short selling can help you understand that if prices are going to come down, you can still make profit if the prices go down. Okay, another question. What happened to all the stocks in the first week of September? The whole market fell for 2 weeks straight and few of them touched the lows and touched in March. So a lot of stocks in September started coming down. First, because of the fear of second wave. Second, a large coronavirus financial aid package is stuck in the parliament where Democrats and Republicans are fighting to launch it, which will be beneficial for the stocks. So the updates on that stimulus or the financial aid were not very favorable, and that's why we saw the stock markets hitting lows again. So that was again one reason, right? Guys, I hope everybody has understood short selling. If not, please reach me out on one-on-one sessions and I'll explain you further. Quickly moving on to another strategy. So many times when you see that things are expected to come down, you can short sell. Now, the second last strategy before we move on to the market neutral strategies very quickly is diversification. Okay, how diversification works. Now, diversification is something everybody must be aware about the literal meaning of it. Everybody says you diversify, but how diversification works? So here it is, the stop loss. We saw the chart, what stop loss does, that if you put a barrier here, it will protect you from the loss which happens after the price falls down. Comes another risk management strategy, which is diversification. So diversification simply means you do not put all your eggs in one basket, right? You should have mixed of investments. Yesterday, for those people who came yesterday, you must have seen the investment pyramid, something like this, right? What is the importance of this pyramid? Because there are some asset classes which are low risk, low return, some asset classes high risk, high return. Why do you have an investment pyramid? So you have some investments which have fixed interest like bonds, some investments which have good amount of returns like stocks, which can beat inflation, real estate. Some investments you keep in day-to-day speculation just to capture the market movements in gold. Gold is one of the important asset class which can help you to protect your exposure against stocks, because there are, how do you diversify? You diversify on the basis of correlation. How correlation works? One sector can be positively correlated to the other, can be negatively correlated to the other, and can have a zero correlation also. Now, when you are, so if you see right now, this chart is very easy to understand. Just take a a quick picture of this, and then you can always see this later on at your place. There are different sectors in US. Consumer discretionary sector. Consumer discretionary are your luxury brands. Consumer staples are your essential food, like companies like Coca-Cola or companies like Walmart, Kellogg's. These are consumer staples. Consumer discretionary are your luxury brands. Energy is oil companies or fuel companies. Financials, banking stocks, healthcare, industrials. Then industrials like Airbus, Boeing, these kind of companies. IT, Alphabet, etc. Then there's materials, there's telecom, utilities, real estate, right? Now, utilities are your electricity companies, electricity distribution companies. These all sectors, they are correlated to each other in a positive way, in a negative way, which means, let's take, for example, if you see here, consumer staples or consumer discretionary, the luxury brands, right? If you see on horizontally, consumer discretionary, industrials 0.85, which means if industrials go up by 1%, the consumer discretionary sector goes up by 0.8%, which means they are positively correlated, right? Imagine if this is negative, so they are negatively correlated because both the prices move in the similar direction. Similarly, consumer staples, which is Walmart, Kellogg's, the essentials, as you can see, if, for example, if consumer discretionary goes up by 1%, then consumer staples goes up by 0.5%, right? This kind of correlation helps you understand how do I diversify. Let's take here, for example, something which you can see okay, the lowest of the correlation right here, IT, which is fifth from the last. And if you see the horizontally, if second last horizontal, utilities. If utilities go up by 1%, IT just goes up by 0.16%, which means IT and utilities are having a very low correlation, which means you can buy one, like for example, if you are buying utilities and you're buying IT, that means there is a possibility if utility goes down, IT may not go down by that much because their positive correlation is minimal. If somebody goes up by one and another product goes up by one, then you are making a positive correlation. If it goes down by one, another product goes down by one, it's a negative correlation. But imagine this, Sorry, it's still a positive correlation. Negative correlation is one goes up, another goes down. That's a negative correlation. Now, if you buy a utility stock and if you buy a IT stock, let's say IT stock goes down by 1%, utility goes down by 0.1%, right? Or vice versa. Let's say if utility goes down by 1%, IT stock goes down by just 0.1%, which means you lose less in IT while you are losing 1% in utility. Now, there are a lot of correlations, guys, which you can study, and the consultants over here can help you out. But this is how you diversify. You can also attain a negative correlation. For example, when stock markets they start performing well, we see investors pulling money out of gold and putting money into stocks when stock markets doing well. So gold prices come down a bit and stock markets go up. So this can be seen in various areas. Those who want to know about the gray area, so gray is just because if you see there's a one, there's a correlation of one, just to mark the territory. On the other side doesn't mean anything. It is just that, for example, when you see the one correlation, industrials versus industrial, it's one, obviously. So it's just a borderline irrelevant. So understand, so consultants over here, they help you understand what is the correlation between two sectors and what are the sectors you should invest in a balanced way, that if your one investment goes down, your other should not follow. If you invest into luxury brands, let's say consumer discretionary also, and at the same time industrials also. So when pandemic hit, Boeing also came down and luxury brands also came down, right? You need to have something which is either negatively correlated or something which has a very low correlation to each other. This is called diversifying, and consultants over here definitely can help you achieve a proper diversification, through which when you're investing, you would know that how much is the percentage movement in these sectors differently, right? Last but not the least, topic of the day is pair trading. Now, pair trading is also called market neutral strategies. Market neutral strategies, what does it mean? Market neutral strategy is a very easy and very important concept. And I have done a separate session of market neutral strategies back in last few days and last few months, because there are so many strategies of market neutral, but I'm going to give you a very interesting idea and I'm going to leave you with it. Market neutral strategies are the trades which you do, because now you understand how short selling works, right? You borrow from the broker, you short sell at the price, and when price comes down, you buy back. This is the last strategy, guys, last tool of risk management for today. So just hear it properly, and if you have any questions, you can always ask. Pair trading happens between two very relatable companies. If I use the word Pepsi, what is the next company comes into your mind which is related to Pepsi? Guys, write it on the chat. This is the last risk management strategy we are going to discuss. If I say the word Pepsi, what's the next company which comes into your mind? Also, if I say the word MasterCard, absolutely, somebody said Coke, absolutely, Coca-Cola, perfect, very good, brilliant. If I say Pepsi, somebody says Mountain Dew, okay. But Mountain Dew is a part of something, it's not a separate company, but definitely Coca-Cola, yes. So, and if I say MasterCard, then, okay, I got an immediate answer, Visa, right? So MasterCard and Visa are two relatable pairs. Coca-Cola, why they are two very relatable pairs? Because they have the same target market, they have almost the same product, and they face the same challenges. It's not like Coke is allowed to put pesticides into the drink and Pepsi is not, right? They have the same regulation, they have the same challenges. So it is expected that most of the time the trend of both the companies is going to be in the similar direction, but it does not happen all the time. Now, the two charts which you are looking right now is Ford and GM, General Motors and Ford. The blue chart is from 2012 to 2017, Ford, and the gray chart is General Motors. As you can see, from 2012 till 2014, you saw these lines being very close. So this is the price movement of both the things, and they are very close to each other. They're moving in the same direction. Same percentage increase, same percentage decrease almost. But in 2014, something happened where Ford went up, sorry, where General Motors went up, Ford came down. But we historically know, what do we know? That they both move in the same direction. But now General Motors have gone up, Ford is still at the same price, which means the one which is up either is going to come down and match to this standard, or this is going to go up, and the gap between both the companies is going to again get parallel, as we have seen historically. Now see what happens here. 2014, had you short sell General Motors and bought Ford, if you see 2014, Ford went up by a very little, which gives you a profit on your buying position, but General Motors came down a lot, which gives you a profit on your short selling position. So this is, guys, a kind of pair trade normally, which gives you, and it's not that you wake up in the morning, you say, oh, let's do the pair trade. That's not how it works. There are gaps and ratios. So what you see right now, 2014, great possibility. This again opportunity came in 2015 mid, when again GM went up by too much while General Motors came down. Now what happened? You short sell General Motors, you buy Ford again. Both the companies came down, but your loss in Ford on the buying position is less than the profit in the short selling position of GM in 2015 mid, if you can see this chart. Again, they got mixed. 2016 gap came, 2017 again a bigger gap came. So if you see, somebody's asking, doesn't heavy load on short sell drop the market? Yeah, so besides the point, if too many people start selling, if too many people start short selling, so yes, it does puts a load on the market where the price starts coming down. But just understand, this kind of strategy, what you do is completely market neutral, because you are not trading on the prices of Ford or GM. You don't care where Ford goes or where GM goes. You are trading on the gap between Ford and GM. Now, this trade can be done between Dow and Nasdaq. This trade can be done between S&P and small cap index, gold and silver, oil UK versus oil US. This can be done with Ford and GM. This can be done with MasterCard and Visa, Coca-Cola and Pepsi. And you can easily, with the help of the consultants, can understand which should be the right area of entry and exit. This is called pair trades. And these are called market neutral strategies, because while during that time, Pepsi and Ford and GM, both stocks came down, but still you ended up making a profit back in. So if you see 2016 properly, you bought blue Ford and you short sell General Motors, right? Both came down in 2016, but GM came down a lot while Ford came down a bit. So your loss in the buying position of Ford is less than the profit in the GM position. So even when market drops, you are market neutral, because you are trading on these gaps between two relatable industries, right? Why do we expect that these prices will go up or down together? Because historically we have seen these are relatable industries. Historically, they connect. Now we'll do a separate presentation on market neutral strategies, where I will show you how you can do arbitrage between gold spot and future, which is for a later discussion, right? So guys, this is something which I wanted to discuss. If you see your platform right now, what is the condition of our positions over here? Right now, Microsoft shares, I have $6,700 profit on 4,000. And needless to say, do not get attracted by looking at the $7,000 profit, because you have 4,000 shares, $1 million worth shares in a 100,000 account. So high risk, high reward. You have to be very careful. See, I put a stop loss at 219. Now I can do something else. Right now the price is 222, right? Very carefully, what I can do is move this stop loss from my regular to trailing stop loss, which means if my buying price is 220.37, definitely current price is 221. So I put my trailing stop loss here. Now my trailing stop loss moves if price goes up. Now if you can see, my stop loss is moving higher. So my stop loss, which was kept at 220, now is 220.43. If price goes up, then it will be 221. So obviously now I have logged in a certain amount of profit for myself because my buying price was 0.37. Now my stop loss is kept at 5.7, which I started with 3.7 only. What does a trailing stop loss does? It follows the prices, and your stop loss keeps moving automatically, so you do not miss out on the price movement. Last question, somebody asked me about penny stocks. So penny stocks, as I said, guys, penny stocks are a smaller market value stocks, and very smaller market value, something which have a low market value of even less than $100 million. There are a lot of companies which can be gems, but then it carries a higher risk because penny stocks are extremely low value stocks. If a breakthrough happens, these stocks might bounce because this is in 10 cents or 20 cents or 30 cents. But otherwise, if this goes well, then it goes well. But you are risking too much. So not many brokers provide you penny stocks or pink sheets. What about in loss? Can you elaborate this question, please? What about in loss means? Sectors which will go up once vaccine is announced. See, quick comment. You can always have one-on-one session. I'll explain you all. I'll show you what stocks can go up. But right now, Johnson & Johnson, Novavax, and a lot of companies, Pfizer, for example, these are some good medical companies which are working on the vaccine also. Johnson & Johnson is good. Pfizer is really good. Novavax, and there are a couple of more companies which are into the trial. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, different kinds of trials. And these companies, Regeneron is something which Donald Trump has been talking about. So Regeneron also you can check in terms of healthcare companies. We have a separate portfolio. Let's have a one-on-one session and we'll discuss with the portfolio as well that what kind of companies we can. Guys, thank you so much for sticking out for this long. It has become a 1.5 hour session. I just wanted to make sure that everything is covered in this session. Now, a quick assignment for today. Anyone by now, those who have joined today, please take demo accounts from your relationship managers, create a watch list, do some trades on margin, put stop losses, create a watch list. And please, once you create a watch list, keep tracking the prices of this. Tomorrow, when we will meet, we'll discuss about the impact of the market data and impact of the market news. Elections are coming. What's going to be the impact? Fundamental analysis, earnings are coming. What can be the impact? How earnings are checked? Earning per share. What is earning per share? So everything we can discuss about the market news and events. In loss shell, we fix stop loss to get more. So I do not understand the question, but you can take my number and please call me directly right now. I'm available and I'll explain to you the answer to your question. So till then, guys, please review us on Google. Do talk about these trainings. These are free of cost sessions and we keep doing this. So review on Google will be very encouraging for me to continue these things. Tomorrow we'll meet with a different topic, but now this is a continuation. We understood about the products. We understood about the platform, short selling, stop loss, risk management, diversification. Tomorrow we'll discuss about news, market news, and events. So you're getting a step closer. You're understanding a lot of things. I really encourage your participation. Thank you so much. Please take care of yourself. Keep your mask on. I have mine. I'm in an enclosed area. Be safe at home and keep yourself invested. Please talk to your relationship managers if you have any issues or if you need a demo account. You need to have a one-on-one session with me. Please book your sessions, and definitely we are going to have much more elaborate discussion. And I have my water with me. I'm going to drink it right now. Thank you once again, guys. Take care. And those who are not able to completely listen me, or if there were network glitches, extremely sorry. This is a network issue which keeps happening. The copy of this webinar will be uploaded on YouTube. And I hope to see you guys tomorrow again. My name is Yogesh. You have a great night ahead. Thank you.